probably the three contenders we talked about the most in the first episode are, of course, still standing with Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner, and as we record this conversation, Novak Djokovic wrapped up a four-set victory over Alex de Minaur to advance to the quarterfinals. I want to start on Novak because you were very high on him going into this tournament. I have to say, he's looked very, very sharp and dug himself out of a bad first set against Dimmenauer and a tough situation in the fourth set today. Was down 4-1, rallied to take it 6-4. Really, really impressive stuff from the 24-time champion.
And he's got a nice little path here, too, if you look ahead to the quarterfinals, assuming he's going to close this one out. I mean,
He did close it. He closed it.
Oh, there you go. I mean, holy kaboli. This is not who I expected him to be facing in the quarterfinals.
No.
And I think this was not who he probably would have been expecting to face there either. So that provides a unique opportunity. And as you mentioned, yeah, the three guys that we thought were going to go deep are all still in the mix here. It's interesting with Wimbledon. It's such a short lead up. The grass court season is so unique in that regard compared to what we just went through on clay. And some players admitting that they played a little bit too many or played too much lead up events leading in, which I thought was interesting hearing from some players, while others claimed they didn't spend enough time on the grass. And it really does seem to be a balancing act to determine how many tournaments one should play. Of course, if you go deep the week before, that's both a blessing, but it could be a curse because it leaves you tired by the time things start there. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think really all that it speaks to is the uniqueness of the surface and the fact that if you're not ready to play on any given day, it doesn't matter if you're a seeded player or not, you could be heading home early.
Yeah, and look, it falls, I think, in the time in the calendar when some of the players are really probably feeling the physical fatigue of that first half of the season. You just wrap up a very long clay court stretch of the season where you have so many tournaments on one of the most physically demanding surfaces, and you make that change, and it's really about who's going to adapt the best. And no surprise that Novak Djokovic kind of very quickly adapting to one of his best surfaces in the world. He's playing great. Carlos Alcaraz, I looked at that round of 16 match against Andre Rublev. Firstly, it's great to see Rublev playing well again. I think you and I both root for him and root for him to kind of overcome some of his demons. Really tough stretch for the first few months of 2025 and some of the back half of 2024. He's playing well again and won that opening set against Alcaraz. You still get the feeling, though, even when Carlitos is down a set or has maybe not the best set, he never really feels in trouble. I always trust he's going to turn it on and figure it out. And that's exactly what he did. And you look now into the quarterfinals, I just don't see anyone who could stop him from getting back in the finals here at the All England Club.
Yeah, well, don't tell the British tennis fans that, for any of our British listeners right now, because they've got a hope who's in the late stages, and it's not who we expected. We thought it was going to be Draper, of course, and he went down early. And instead, who is it? It's 2022 semifinalist at Wimbledon, former world number 8, Cam Norrie, the lefty, whose stock has fallen in the last couple of years, but obviously reacquainting himself quite well with the grass where he experienced his career highlight in terms of results at majors. Going to have the home crowd behind him, of course, and I think probably softening the blow of losing Jack Draper, who we all thought was primed to have a second week run here.
I had Draper penciled into the quarterfinals and thought, here's a player who could give Novak Djokovic a big push or big run for his money. Instead, I mean, talking about veterans, Marin Cilic, though he is out of the tournament now, his age, 36, to come back from a lengthy injury, knee issues, missing about a year of competition, fell out of the top 1,000 at one point, and now beats a top 5 player at a major. What a formidable career. And I was looking over his numbers. To me, this guy, I think he's a surefire Hall of Famer. And now he's kind of backed that up that he still has a lot of game, even at his age. It's great to see the veterans kind of deliver at this stage.
Well, and he's got the game where if he's healthy, he's still going to be a threat there on the grass, that mix of experience and explosiveness. It's like if Milos Raonic had been able to play this year, it wouldn't have surprised me if he had given a top seed a difficult run as well. I don't know about Hall of Fame for Cilic. That's certainly up for debate, but had a heck of a solid career and one that many players would take without even thinking twice. Let's look for a second on the men's side at the Canadians. And unfortunately, it was mostly a little bit of doom and gloom in terms of what happened with Felix Auger-Aliassime, with Denis Shapovalov. I do think the bright spot, and we've been saying this quite a bit lately, actually, the bright spot was Gabriel Diallo.
Yeah, let's talk on the positive to start. And we had this debate on the first episode, which Canadian man are you backing to go the furthest? I thought maybe Diallo isn't going to get the furthest only by virtue of his draw. Both he and Felix lose in the second round, but it's very, very fair to say Diallo had the much better tournament. Firstly, a great opening round win over Daniel Altmaier, where it felt like he was in control of the match the entire time. First career win at Wimbledon in main draw action. Then second round, I mean, incredibly difficult draw against Taylor Fritz, and he pushed the top-ranked American in the world, right to the brink, stretching this match out to a fifth set. I thought he served incredibly well. He committed to his tennis. He was brave. He was eager to get to net. His return has improved. And look, I think this is a guy, if we fast forward a year from now and it's Wimbledon 2026, I think he's going to have one of those 32 seeds. That's how strong he's been in 2025, and that's how great a progression he has made. So it's just fantastic to watch for a guy who's come this far in a pretty short period of time.
Absolutely, and he achieved his career high ranking of number 40 in the world just prior to Wimbledon, so this undoubtedly is gonna push him into the top, 40, closer to the top 30 in that seeded territory. I
Yeah.
wonder, Ben, and this might be a bit of a take, but I wonder a year from now if he's the highest ranked Canadian man the way things are going.
I I think you might be right. I mean, I obviously believe for Felix, and we'll get to him, maybe a change has to be made. Felix Auger-Aliassime has still put up some ATP results, obviously, and won a few titles this year at ATP 250 and 500 level. But you look at the Grand Slam results, and for Diallo, this is kind of brand new territory, like playing French Open main draw and playing Wimbledon main draw, and to be able to deliver and get wins. Obviously, his confidence is rising. And I kind of feel for Felix Auger-Aliassime, a lot of the issues might be between the ears. You feel things are kind of trending the other way. And yes, he won his opening round match. Jan-Lennard Struff, tough second round opponent. When you have a tough opponent, you have to take your chances. And in this match, Felix led by a set. He was up 6-3 in the second set tiebreak. Could have closed it out on his serve, double faulted. Suddenly they get into an extended tiebreak. Struff wins it. Rain delay hits, and they actually have to pick up the match the following day, and you could tell the German had all sorts of momentum from stealing that second set. Well, Felix looked tight and antsy, and it ultimately cost him a big opportunity to get into the third round.
And Struff, I mean, what can you say about this guy? He just seems to be a Canadian killer because how many
He
times
is.
have we mentioned this guy's name upsetting one of our Canadian guys? I know he's beat Chapo a couple times too, I think. So, credit to him, of course, and being ready to play when play resumed. And we've talked about it so many times before. I feel like it's beating a dead horse talking about switching coaches
Mhm.
for Felix Auger-Aliassime. But what happens in between? When there's a break, you got to go back with your coach and strategize all possibilities here. And I think a change of a new voice for Felix could do nothing but good for him, right? Like, he
Yeah.
could do nothing but get better at this point, and how many coaches would relish the chance to work with a talent like Felix Auger-Aliassime, who has not even really scratched the surface of what we all kind of predicted for him when he was younger, of what his talent and potential still is. And contrary to Denis Shapovalov, who is still, yeah, mentally his own worst enemy out there, it's
No.
not that Felix is it's not the negative talk, it's not the poor body language. It's not complaining about the grass courts playing like clay courts. With Felix, there are mental things there for sure to work on. Seems more like confidence and trusting in his game when things get a little
Absolutely.
tough.
Yeah, completely agree. This is an alarming stat. Like Felix has now not advanced past the second round of a Grand Slam at his last five majors, which is, I think, just staggering considering his talent level and considering the fact that, less than 2 years ago he'd reached world number six. So it's something that has to be fixed. Denis Shapovalov, I actually had some decently high hopes for him considering the surface. He's played so well at Wimbledon in the past. Historically, it's been his best slam. Just the other year, round of 16, and lost to Sapolin. But, obviously a few years ago, played Novak Djokovic in the semifinals of Wimbledon. He's really dangerous on a grass court. His game suits it perfectly. I'm like alarmed that he could have lost a first round match to really a clay court specialist in Mariano Novone, who I checked, he only had two career grass court wins leading into that match. So as you sort of alluded to, Dennis had all sorts of complaints, maybe during and after, about the balls, about the court quality. You have to find a way to get it done, though.
Yeah, and Dennis, I watched the first set and he was dancing around and looking sharp at the net and pumping himself up and everything was so positive. And then how quickly things can change. And he ended up with 11 double faults and his first serve percentage of 54%. Well, that's clearly not going to cut it on grass or any surface for that matter. But it was
Yeah.
very frustrating to see sort of same old with Dennis that once the going got tough, it seemed like he just talked himself right out of that match.
No, no kidding. Top half of the draw before we shift over to the women's. Jannik Sinner, world number one and cruising along. If we get to that semifinal of a Sinner and a Djokovic, who are you favoring?
Well, look, man, I'm gonna stick with what I went with to start the tournament, that I really feel that there's
Novak.
something special brewing with Novak right now, and he's putting all his efforts into wanting to win this one this year, maybe similarly to how he did at the Olympics a year ago, making that the focus of his season. Clearly, Sinner's gonna have, the legs and the youth, although look at what Alcaraz did to him at the French Open, and as that match went 4 or 5 sets, it was Alcaraz who, prevailed. So I really, am just looking forward to this one. It would be a great battle and it's not going to make me switch my choice at this point.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I'm still sticking with an Alcaraz Sinner rematch, although you're right. I think Djokovic has a big time opportunity here. I'm still sticking with my Alcaraz pick to win it and three-peat at the title. Thank you guys so much for watching us at Matchpoint Canada. If you like our work, follow along, hit the subscribe button below.